For uncertainty, the most physically interesting and maybe the most polarizing player in the same swanky New York ballroom is Bol Bol. He dribbles and shoots with an ease that isn't usually possible for someone his size. He can swat shots the same way his dad used to block his in their one-on-one games, but he's got a checkered medical past. Foot and ankle injuries and big men don't usually mix. That's why there was nervousness to Bol on the eve of the draft, a package full of arms, legs, and destiny with no clue when or where the next chapter will begin. During the time of the draft, Bol was routinely pointed to as the biggest risk/reward prospect in the draft. His strengths, size, shooting, and ball handling could justify a top 10 pick or higher. His weaknesses, lean frame, injured foot, and questions about passion could have him slide to the end of the first round. That uncertainty can be suffocating, and Bol admitted to being too locked into where his name was showing up in mock drafts, just like he was too interested in his recruiting rankings as he played for 4 high schools in 4 years, including one at Made or Die. Bol is the son of 7'7" Manute Bol, the tallest player in NBA history, along with Hyoge Mura-san. His son inherited the size and agility that made his father one of the greatest shot blockers of all time. While his father was able to make the NBA based on his sheer physical gifts despite not playing basketball regularly until his adolescence, Bol has spent his entire life playing the sport. At 19, he already possesses an offensive arsenal that should make him a game breaker in the modern NBA. And Bol's career won't resemble anybody else's, especially not his father's. Manute carved out 10 years as a role player despite never developing much of an offensive repertoire. The range of possibilities for Bol is wide, but it seems that the least likely scenario for his future is that he manages a 10-year career as a role player. Bol is clearly one of the most talented players in the draft, but teams were scared by his medical future. He's a big man whose lone college season was derailed by a foot injury. He went on to be drafted with the 44th pick of the second round by the Denver Nuggets. Now let's get into what most people want to know. Who is Bol Bol NBA comparison? Well, it's not Kevin Durant. It's a unicorn Kristaps Porzingis from the Dallas Mavericks, and here's why. Bol is an effective shot blocker. He blocked 12.4% of opposing shots while he was on the floor at Oregon, a figure that would have ranked 10th in college basketball if he played a qualifying number of minutes. But his shot is a skill which makes him an NBA player. He hit on 52% of his 25 attempts at Oregon and 48.9% on 45 attempts on the Nike Elite Youth Basketball League circuit. His father's shot had a windup like a Fernando Valenzuela screwball and launched from well above his head. It was kind of like a slingshot, says Bol of his father's shot. Meanwhile, Bol shoots from out in front of his face. It might be blockable, but it's reliable. Bol's shooting isn't his only skill that would make more sense on a smaller player. He's surprisingly quick for a big man, much like KP, but let's dive into some strengths. Has unusual size and length for an NBA big, 7'2", 7'5" wingspan, 225 pounds. Ability to knock down outside shots at a high rate makes his very unique. Moves well and is able to get out and move in transition with solid agility. Quick for his size and has solid agility. Has the potential to be elite on both ends of the floor due to his freakish physical package. Has the tools, speed, length, anticipation to potentially be an elite rim protector. Gets up really well after grabbing a rebound. Explodes to the rim really well. Elevates with ease and has very good lateral speed when he applies himself. Has good hands, usually is the biggest player on the floor and does a good job of taking advantage of his length inside. Handles the ball well for a big. Has a nose for the ball. Does a good job of following his shot and rebounding his own misses. Had a very productive start to the year. Pretty aggressive on the boards, 9.6 rebounds and 2.1 offensive rebounds per game. Does a good job getting his putbacks. Has a solid touch for a big man, a natural on offense, capable of hitting floaters and runners, uses pump fakes well, has polished moves, knows how to put the ball on the floor and attack the rim, capable of shooting from the perimeter, 52% from 3-point range on 2.8 attempts per game, has a pretty fluid shooting motion, knows how to score, 21 points per game, does a good job using the pick and roll, solid free throw shooter, 75.7%, defends well inside and is eager to protect the rim, 2.7 blocks per game. That sounds a little Kristaps Porzingis to me, but for his weaknesses, as impressive as he played early in his freshman season, his inability to stay on the floor due to injury calls into question his durability. Played in just 9 games at Oregon due to a stress fracture in his left foot. Questionable how reliable he'll be at the next level. Whichever team drafts him will be taking an inherent gamble that he doesn't have further health issues that derail his career. Sudanese have extremely thin body types and his body needs a lot of work. Putting good basketball weight on could be a challenge. Sometimes forces shots that aren't there. He's still figuring out how to best take advantage of his physical tools. Needs to learn to let the game come to him better. Could do a better job of passing out of double teams and finding the open man in cutters. 1 assist and 2 turnovers per game. While he is capable of running the floor well in transition, doesn't always hustle as well as he could. But as we saw recently against the Washington Wizards, Bol might prove to be the biggest steal of the 2019 NBA draft.